Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into a headline that sounds almost unbelievable. In one strike, Ukraine just burned $13 billion of Russian power. That number is massive. It's not just about money, it's about capability, strategy, morale, and the shifting balance on the battlefield. When we talk about $13 billion, we're not just talking about cash going up in smoke. We're talking about advanced military systems, years of industrial production, highly trained crews, logistics chains, and strategic positioning. A single, well-coordinated strike can do more than destroy equipment. It can disrupt plans that took years to build. The war between Russia and Ukraine has evolved dramatically since it began. What started as a large-scale invasion with armored columns and missile barrages has transformed into a high-tech, drone-driven, intelligence-heavy conflict. The battlefield today looks very different from the early days. So what does it really mean when we say Ukraine burned $13 billion of Russian power in one strike? It means a combination of precision targeting, intelligence coordination, and modern warfare tactics converged at the perfect moment. Reports suggest that the strike targeted high-value assets. These could include advanced aircraft, long-range missile systems, strategic bombers, ammunition depots, or critical infrastructure supporting Russian military operations. When assets of that scale are hit, the financial loss is only part of the story. Take strategic aircraft, for example. A single modern bomber can cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Beyond the aircraft itself, there's pilot training, maintenance crews, specialized parts, runways, fuel systems, and integrated command networks. Destroying even a handful of these platforms creates a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the blast zone. The psychological impact is just as significant. For a country like Russia, which prides itself on military strength and strategic depth, losing billions in hardware in one coordinated blow sends a powerful message. It tells the world that no base is completely safe, no airfield is untouchable, and no asset is beyond reach. For Ukraine, such a strike demonstrates capability. It shows that even against a larger military power, precision, intelligence, and innovation can level the playing field. This is not just about firepower, it's about smart warfare. Modern conflicts are increasingly defined by drones and long-range strike systems. Low-cost, unmanned aerial vehicles can locate and hit targets worth millions or even billions. This cost imbalance is one of the defining features of this war. A relatively inexpensive drone can disable an air defense system that costs exponentially more. That's where the real shock factor comes in. If Ukraine managed to destroy or severely damage assets totaling $13 billion, it likely did so using systems that cost a fraction of that amount. This changes the economic logic of war. Russia has invested heavily in air superiority and long-range strike capability. Aircraft, missile carriers, and advanced air defense systems form the backbone of its military doctrine. When these are compromised, the strategic equation shifts. Consider air bases deep inside Russian territory. These locations were once considered secure due to distance alone, but modern long-range drones and missiles challenge that assumption. Geography is no longer a guarantee of safety. A successful strike of this magnitude would also require extensive intelligence. Satellite imagery, signals intelligence, human sources, and real-time reconnaissance likely played a role. Warfare today is as much about information dominance as it is about firepower. Another key factor is timing. High-value targets are not always stationary. Aircraft may be dispersed. Missile systems can be relocated. Hitting them requires precise coordination. If Ukraine struck at a moment when multiple valuable assets were concentrated, the damage could multiply quickly. The financial figure, $13 billion, captures attention, but the operational impact may be even more important. Destroyed aircraft cannot launch missiles. Damaged runways cannot support operations. Lost ammunition stockpiles cannot sustain offensives. For Russian commanders, such a strike forces difficult decisions. Do they pull assets further back from the front lines, reducing operational tempo? Do they invest even more in air defense systems? Or do they escalate in response? Every option carries consequences. Pulling assets back may protect them but reduces pressure on Ukrainian positions. Investing in more defenses drains resources. Escalation risks international backlash. On the Ukrainian side, a successful strike boosts morale. It shows that despite facing a larger adversary, they can strike decisively and effectively. Morale is an often overlooked but critical component of warfare. The global reaction also matters. Allies watching from the sidelines assess effectiveness. When Ukraine demonstrates the ability to inflict massive strategic losses, it strengthens arguments for continued support. It shows that assistance translates into tangible results. At the same time, Russia must manage the narrative internally. A loss of this scale cannot easily be hidden. Satellite images, social media footage, and independent analysts quickly piece together what happened. In the digital age, information spreads fast. There's also the question of deterrence. If high-value Russian assets are vulnerable, it may change how Russia deploys them. Strategic bombers that once operated with relative confidence may now require additional layers of protection, and protection is expensive. Hardened shelters, additional air defenses, electronic warfare systems, all of these cost money and time. In war, resources are finite. Diverting them to defense can weaken offensive capabilities. Another angle to consider is industrial capacity. Replacing billions of dollars in destroyed equipment is not simple. Modern military hardware takes years to produce. Sanctions and supply chain disruptions complicate matters further. If the strike damaged specialized aircraft or rare systems, replacements may be slow or even impossible in the short term. That creates capability gaps. Those gaps can influence future battles. This event also highlights the transformation of military doctrine. Traditional measures of power, tank counts, troop numbers, fleet size, are increasingly supplemented by agility, innovation, and technological integration. Ukraine's use of drones, precision strikes, and decentralized tactics reflects a new model of warfare. Smaller units, empowered by real-time intelligence and affordable technology, can punch far above their weight. Meanwhile, Russia must adapt. Large, centralized concentrations of equipment present tempting targets. Dispersal reduces vulnerability but complicates coordination. Every adaptation comes with trade-offs. The number 13 billion is dramatic, but it also symbolizes something deeper. It represents the erosion of perceived invulnerability. It signals that even major powers can suffer sudden, concentrated losses. In military history, there are moments that redefine expectations. A surprise attack that cripples a fleet, a missile strike that destroys a command center. These moments shift momentum and alter strategic thinking. If this strike truly inflicted damage on that scale, it may be remembered as one of those turning points. Not because it ended the war, but because it demonstrated a new level of reach and precision. There's also the economic dimension. War is not just fought on the battlefield. It's fought in factories, budgets, and production lines. Destroying expensive equipment forces a nation to spend more just to maintain its current level of capability. For Russia, already facing economic pressure, absorbing such losses adds strain. Even a large economy feels the impact of repeated billion-dollar setbacks. For Ukraine, achieving such results reinforces a strategy centered on high-value targeting. Instead of matching Russia tank by tank or plane by plane, the focus shifts to strategic disruption. There's also worth considering the symbolic power of fire. Images of burning aircraft or smoking hangars resonate globally. They create a narrative of vulnerability and consequence. At the same time, war remains unpredictable. A major strike can provoke retaliation. It can escalate tensions. It can lead to new phases of conflict. What makes this particular event stand out is the scale. Billions of dollars in military power in one strike is not routine. It suggests careful planning, effective execution, and perhaps even an element of surprise. As analysts dissect the aftermath, they will look at satellite imagery, assess confirmed losses, and debate the true cost. Numbers in wartime are often contested, but even conservative estimates may still indicate a severe blow. In the broader context of the Russia-Ukraine war, this strike underscores a key lesson: adaptability matters.
Static defenses and predictable patterns create opportunities for opponents. The battlefield is no longer confined to trenches and front lines. It extends deep into rear areas, across borders, and into cyberspace. Modern war has few safe zones. Ultimately, whether the figure is exactly 13 billion or slightly less, the strategic message is clear. High-value assets are vulnerable. Precision strikes can reshape operational dynamics overnight. For viewers trying to understand what this means, think beyond the dollar amount. Think about lost capability, disrupted plans, shaken confidence, and forced adaptations. In one strike, Ukraine may not have ended the war, but it may have changed the conversation. It demonstrated that even in a prolonged conflict, dramatic shifts are possible. And as this war continues to evolve, moments like this remind us that power is not just about size. It's about strategy, innovation, and the ability to act decisively when opportunity appears. That's what makes this event so significant. It's not just a headline.